So today I'm planning to make some dread beads. So they're basically beads with a very large hole. So the decorative surface I was going to do is similar to this, obviously different colors. But I did this with extruding a little string and then wrapping it around and then sanding off the surface. I'll explain that a bit better. So I'm just going to finish off getting this blend together. What I want to do is cut out a bunch of circles. Okay, so this is my little extruder. So I'm going to put a stack of clay in there. Sorry, twist this. And it's like a plunger, big syringe sort of thing. And then it squeezes the clay. There's all different shapes that you can extrude it. And so then it's going to squeeze it out like a spaghetti. Layers of different colors, and then as it extrudes, it's sort of the color that's at the bottom gets wrapped around, so it's sort of the colors going horizontally then wrap around like the circle of the spaghetti. So what I want to do now is make little stacks. So the first color I choose is going to be the outside of the extruded cane. So it'll be this stripe outline. So I probably want to start off with nice high contrast colors. So the first color will probably be sanded off, but it'll still be on these edges. So I might start off with a nice high contrast thing like that. So there's no plan, it's just random. So it's okay to put a few colors that are a bit similar, but I, mix that up with contrasting colors as well. Because I think maybe having like 4 stacks will be about right, so maybe I need to add some of these in here and there. So I kind of want these to be mostly purple beads with just a bit of turquoise accents, so I might not use all of those. This the amount of thread here is how much space there's going to be inside the barrel there, so that's going to fit. Now these circles, I know is very slightly bigger than the extruder, so I just need to roll them together a little bit. So I'm just squeezing these together now because I'm happy with the color mix, and just rolling this slightly smaller. This is why it didn't really matter if some of the little discs are a bit wonky and are not a perfect circle, because it's all gonna get squished and wonky anyway. It's still slightly too big. So also it doesn't matter how much smaller I make this, because it's going to all squish anyway. Just needs to be small enough to fit. Okay. So it's all crackling here, which is fine. I did see somebody who, once they put the clay into their extruder, they would just warm it up with a heat gun, and then apparently it doesn't come out cracked like that. But for this, I want it to look kind of a bit cracked and bump, you know, sort of it's adding interest. So the idea, and then the other thing is that the layers change along the length. So the idea is that the little beads will be different as I wrap the thing around. There'll be like a gradient effect along the beads. This is a later one. There'll be more layers around that one than this layer, which is why I usually do these in little short bits rather than one big massive string, because it can end up looking a bit mushy at the end. So here, the little concentric circles, there's a lot more on that side. So this has come out hexagonal, so I want it more with a square profile, because I want the little, so I've got a core here. So this is, I've rolled up a piece of A4 paper. Let me just show you. And then I've wrapped it up in foil. I don't know if I can show you this end here. So that's just a little scrap of paper that I've rolled up as tightly as I could and then wrapped it in foil. So that's going to be the whole of the bead. So what I'm going to wrap this clay around there, make one big long thing, and then once it's baked, I'll chop it up into little individual beads. So I want these little spirals, I want them actually to have little square corners so that they're butting up against each other, because that's actually what's going to make the structure of the bead. That was that bit that I cut earlier. Okay, so there's gaps there. Once I've got this whole thing rolled up, I'm going to squish those and roll those and make them smooth, because that's going to provide the structure of the bead. And then once it's baked, I'll sand off that surface and it will reveal the colors underneath. I'm thinking that's actually really cool. I don't know if I want to sand that. So this is now like Schrodinger's bead. I don't know what the pattern inside is going to be until I've sanded it, and then the inside could either be more interesting or less interesting than the bit I can see here. So when you're rolling clay on a core like this, it's important that you push on the clay and not on the core. If you roll the core, then what happens is you end up making the hole bigger, not the outside smooth. So yeah, once it's baked, I've got a tip that I've figured out. If I put the baked stick into a cup of boiling water and just leave it there for a minute or two, it warms up enough, and then it's quite easy to slice. I did actually a tutorial on it ages ago. This little bit's a bit raggedy. So I'll just cut that off. So you see, I think the slices will be quite interesting when you're getting the different inner colors there. So I haven't got the footage of me completing making these beads, so I thought I would leave you with a few photographs of the finished beads. So what I did to finish off these beads is I baked the whole cylinder, and then I gave it a bit of a sanding afterwards. So I just did quite a light sanding because I really liked the surface pattern, the sort of mottled tie-dye effect that I got on these beads. And then once I'd sanded the whole cylinder, I used my technique for warming it up in some hot water and then cutting it into sections. I'll include a link to that other tutorial video I made where I do a similar technique on different beads. And then what I did is I just flat sanded the edges of the beads just to smooth off those edges a little bit. And I cut these into different lengths. Some of them are 2 centimeters and some of them are 1 centimeters. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope I'll be back soon with another one. Bye!